Have you ever had something to say and suddenly went quiet? Have you ever stumbled through a conversation only to think later, well, that's what I should have said? Do you ever feel like there are times when your message gets completely lost in translation? Well, my friend, you are not alone. My name is Kathy Riley. I'm your host and communications expert with over 25 years in litigation and another 15 as an entrepreneur. Our goal here is to share tools, systems, and techniques guaranteed to shift the way you connect with others. From mastering the art of a tough conversation to cultivating a mindset that screams confidence, you're going to learn how to break those bad habits. And today, we're going to talk about communicating. How do you communicate with others? What is the formula for that? Let's see. George Bernard Shaw said it best. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Seriously, it's the illusion. And if you think about the number one stressor for us in the US, probably for humans, is time. The number one stressor is the lack of time. So, knowing that we're all running around thinking we don't have enough time to do all the things that we need to do, and then we approach a conversation with an individual or a team, we are not communicating effectively. And guess what? People blow up. We lose our patience. We lose the ability to communicate, and we've lost the ability to agree to disagree. So let's talk a little bit about that. So here's a funny story. So most of you know I'm an anal retentive person and I'm very literal. And I got married over 20 years ago. Okay. And got married in Key West. Living in Colorado, got married in Key West. And my husband and I, Prince Charming, and I decided that Key West, it was just it was a really cool spot, right? And we got on the Google because there was the Google back then. Well, I don't know if it was called the Google, but we got on the internet and we were just looking at places and we loved the ocean. And we found this amazing hotel at Key West. So it was the Wyndham Reach Resort. I don't think it exists anymore or it's been restructured or whatever, but it was this glorious, it was a beach front wedding with the ocean right there, big white pillars, this amazing garden, and then it had this gazebo set on the water, and it had that like a pathway to it so that you could get married on the beach, but you're not standing on the beach. That was my big thing because I like wearing big girl shoes. I'm a short girl. So I wanted to have this over this gazebo that was completely covered and it had fans, right? So even if we got married in June, on the longest day of the year, and it was beautiful. It was glorious. So we decided Key West. Okay. So, in looking at all of that, then we're going to make choices as to how we were going to get married, meet the gentleman, the photographer, the music, all of these decisions. We actually made it via phone. Like there was very little things that we could look online, like it is today. So 20 years, 20 plus years ago, it was very, very different. And so there was a lot of phone calls. And I contacted, there was a concierge, a woman that helped with the weddings at the Wyndham Reach. And so she became my best friend. So she recommended a bunch of different people for photographers, and I'd call them and have an interview. And the ones that connected, that's the one I hired. And then same with all of the different vendors and all of that. The food, I didn't taste or try anything. I was just shooting from my hip and talked with this bakery that she recommended. It had great reviews, right? And this is where you actually had testimonials. And so, but when it comes to cake, it's really not that hard to mess up a cake, really, really. And I love a casada cake. There's just something about casada, right? It's got that layer. So it's got this amazing cream cheese frosting, and then there's a layer of some jelly pudding yumminess in the middle, and it just packs full of flavor. So I was talking with the bakery and the baker, and we talked about that. That was one of their signature cakes. So they were able to do it, and we figured out the flavor and all this stuff. So me being anal retentive, I wrote it up and faxed it over to him. So my fax was, we figured out how many people, right? How many servings, what it was. And I think it was only, we had like a 2 tier, but the second tier wasn't really a real, it was a tiny, because we only had like 30 people, 50 people there, maybe tops. Not a lot of people. And so it was a smaller cake. So here's what I ordered with the 2 tier. I was bringing the top myself, and we were doing, I ordered a yellow cake, ivory cream cheese frosting, and then the raspberry casata filling is what it is. So and it was this much, and then this was the price, and I faxed it off to him. We were on the phone, confirmed everything's good. We're like, you would think it's not that difficult. You would think. There, I'm going somewhere with this. I know you can feel it. I'm going somewhere with this. So it was a late afternoon, kind of a sunset wedding, not quite sunset because I didn't want people blinded, but 4 o'clock, later day, and it's beautiful. My brother-in-law and his wife took care of the flowers. It was just gorgeous everywhere. And we had our close family and friends with us. It was a glorious day. The wedding ceremony guy, he's one I talked to, and we worked out together the vows. He did an excellent job delivering it, and it was a beautiful day. It was beautiful. The whole ceremony, everything went off without a hitch. And then we just basically walk off the pier and then go into the hotel for our reception. And everybody's smiling and cheering and all that's going on. And we are just beaming eye to eye. We're hand to hand walking through that. And then we get into the hotel. It feels wonderful because it's Key West in June. It was pretty warm. So my husband, who was in his suit, he's like, I gotta take my coat off. So he goes over to the table, takes his coat off, and we start walking in just to get all the guests in there because they're following us. And I walk part way, and it's like halfway through the room, and I can see the cake. I see this cake, and I stop. I literally freeze. My face goes still. My eyes are laser focused. And I remember I still have the flowers in my hand. And I'm like, "Ah." Now, remember, I did litigation. So I know when, like, a conflict, I kind of just, all the emotion leaves my face. Like, I get into that listening mode where I'm not taking part. And I went into that. I just kind of like, and I'm looking at it going, this is not what I ordered. This is not what I ordered. Not even close to what I ordered. But we're in Key West, and I go through my order in my head. Yellow cake, ivory cream cheese frosting, raspberry casata. That's what but I led with yellow cake. And so I'm looking at this picture. I'm looking at this cake, and I have I have pictures. 'Cause and it's bright yellow. It is like the epitome of Key West, bright, glow, glow in the dark, highlighter kind of yellow. It screams from across the room. I could see the cake. And I was like, okay, okay, this isn't what I ordered. This isn't what I ordered. My sister comes over to me, and she's like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And I'm like, all right, I said, it's a yellow cake. And she's like, yeah. And I said, I ordered yellow cake, ivory cream cheese frosting because I didn't want white. I wanted ivory. And that's what I got. And she's like, well, and the process was like, okay, this is operator error. I got a yellow cake. In my head, I'm thinking, well, if you ordered a yellow cake, do you know how many shades of yellow there are? So many. Why would you not gain clarification on this? Would you not ask the follow-up question? That question was not asked. I thought we were on the same page. We clearly were not. But as I went over there, um, my sister-in-law, she had put, because there's always an oopsie at every wedding, and my wedding cake topper broke. So she offered to put flowers on top of the cake. It was beautiful because we had these blues and purples and this white and all of these colors within the flowers, and it was gorgeous, gorgeous. And I'm like, it looks pretty cool, doesn't it? My sister's like, yes, it is. She's like, hold on. So she goes to the bar. She gets, we picked out a signature drink. She comes over, puts a drink in my hand, and I'm like, okay, this was a mistake, and we'll see. And I got to tell you, um, that was the only big hiccup, right? And that was one of the best tasting cakes I've ever had in my life. And what's really cool is because we got married in Key West, we honeymooned in Key West, and we honeymooned with our family, just so you know. Kind of funny, but hey, that's how we roll when you do destination wedding. We honeymooned with our family, and we got to eat that cake all week. We got to eat, we ate the whole darn thing. There was no piece to save or freeze, but you can't really, there was no ability to freeze it anyway. But it was amazing. It was amazing. And so I'm here to share with you the point of this whole thing is that oftentimes when we're communicating, we are not clear. We lack clarity in what we're talking about. And we hesitate asking questions to gain that clarity. Okay. We then avoid anything that's difficult, right? We don't want to, if it feels icky, right? We're being misunderstood. It's going into that conflict arena, like, we avoid it. We avoid it. We don't want to ask or talk about anything that we know that's going to stir the pot. We avoid it. And another common mistake is we don't listen. We don't listen. We listen to respond. We don't listen to communicate. So those are some of the biggest issues with my wedding cake. Operator error. I did say yellow cake. There was not, I'm a very visual person. I thought it was a yellow cake inside. That's what I wanted. But I got, it's perspective. The ivory cream cheese. Yeah, obviously that missed the mark because it was a yellow cream cheese. It was freaking awesome, but it was yellow. So communication is complicated on so many levels. And when you think you know what the other person is on, like you've got it written down, it's all easy peasy, mistakes can still happen. So here's something to know when it comes to humans. Is every human out there, well, 99.9% of the humans out there, every human out there honestly is doing the best they can with the information they have. When it comes to that, allow yourself and them the grace to be misunderstood until you can gain that level of understanding. Let me say that again. Every human out there is doing the best they can with the information they have. So allow that miscommunication to happen. Give yourself and them grace and allow for the questions to happen so that you can be on the same page and be understood. You guys think about that. So the formula for communication is this. It's what one person says. So what is spoken. It's also what the other person hears, right? So what we hear is different than what's said when it comes to comprehension. So it's what is said plus what is heard plus creating understanding equals communication. Now, that understanding, how do you get there? Well, this is it, my friends. Quite simply, it's asking questions. It's asking questions. I said yellow cake. I was talking yellow cake on the inside, not the out. Ivory cream cheese frosting. Well, it was probably ivory cream cheese frosting until they threw the yellow in there to match what I ordered was the yellow cake. Knowing that there's going to be a disconnect until you ask the questions. Ask the questions so that you gain the clarity, so that you know the two of you are on the same page. And this is where, questions, people hesitate. I've trained teams with it. I teach classes on this. People don't like to ask questions, but it's in the questions that creates the understanding. Questions are a powerful tool to make sure that I know that you know that I know that you know. We've got to get there. Making assumptions that we're on the same page creates lack of communication and can lead to conflict. So how do you avoid conflict? You ask questions and gain an understanding, right? This is where we're going. We're going to watch a movie. All right. Who's all everybody? Okay. All the parents, children, family, who's all going? What time are we going? Right? What movie are we going to see? So knowing you've got to ask those questions, get the details to say, okay, what do you say you want to watch a movie? I say I want to watch a movie. What movie do you want to see? Oh, I want to watch this movie. Well, can you create a compromise? That's where when you will never completely avoid conflict, but conflict stems most of the time from lack of understanding between the parties. And it's not understanding their perspective either. And it's all about making assumptions. And you know what they say about assumptions? So, my friend, walk away with this. Okay, the 3 steps to effective communication is what's said plus what's heard plus understanding. That understanding, how you do that is by asking questions. That equals effective communication. You will never be an effective communicator if you do not take the time to make sure that the other person understands what you're understanding, and when the other person's talking to you, that you completely understand what they're saying. That's powerful. And then knowing that as humans, we are doing the best we can with the information in front of us at any given time. We're doing the best we can. When we know better, we do better. Sometimes we have to learn that lesson a few times. I don't know if you're a parent out there, how many times do you have to tell your kid to do something, right? Adults are like that too. So giving them the grace to know that they're human and they're doing the best that they can, and we'll get there. All right, hopefully you walked away with a juicy little tidbit today. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Breaking Bad Communication. Thank you so much for being here. Before we sign off, don't forget to subscribe. And if you like what you heard today, go ahead and share that. Share it on a post, share it with some friends, tell them that they need to listen to Breaking Bad Communication. Know this. The quality of your life is in direct relation to your ability to communicate. So as you head out to the world, remember every conversation is a chance to shape your life and the lives of others. Whether it's a tough talk, casual chat, be clear, be intentional, and listen like it matters. The better you communicate, the more your life aligns with what you truly want. So, all right, go on, get back out there. Own your voice. Pay attention to your words and listen. Giddy up, my friend.